Hi Citylight, my name is Sarah Minturn, and today we're going to be doing another video for our Bible reading plan that we've been going through. So the last couple of weeks we have been reading through the book of Acts. So today I'm going to share with you guys about the Jerusalem Council, which takes place in Acts 15. I just wanted to share with you guys just what the Jerusalem Council was, what happened, and then why it's important to us. So this Jerusalem Council, it takes place after Paul's first missionary journey. Paul and Barnabas had been in Antioch and they were preaching the gospel, and there were some Jewish men who came in and they were saying that in order to be saved, these Gentile believers needed to be circumcised and also needed to follow the Mosaic law. And obviously this was not correct. It went against the things that Paul and Barnabas were saying. So they went to Jerusalem and they gathered some of the other apostles and leaders in the church, and they just wanted to address this issue of circumcision and following the laws, and what that meant for Gentiles who were not of Jewish descent. So they started having this conversation of we're sharing about what some of the things that had happened that Paul and also Peter had seen on just as they're sharing the gospel. Peter was sharing about how Gentiles had already received the Holy Spirit in Cornelius's house, even though they weren't Jewish, and they had still received the Holy Spirit. They kept showing examples of Gentiles having the Holy Spirit and coming to know the Lord without practicing circumcision and following all these laws. James was also sharing just how in the book of Amos we see that God's plan was always including the Gentiles. That all people can come to be believers and come to be part of God's family. So that was obviously in the Old Testament. So this was God's plan all along. It wasn't something new that happened once Jesus came. So they addressed this issue, and obviously they came to the decision that no, you don't need to be circumcised and follow the Mosaic laws in order to be saved and to be part of God's family. So that meant that all Gentiles could become Christians and be in God's family. So what they ended up doing, these leaders at the Jerusalem Council, is they drafted a letter to the churches that throughout all the regions, and basically it just rejected the idea of circumcision and following the Mosaic law in order to be saved. And it also told the Gentiles, though, to reject their cultural practices that were around idol worship. To encourage unity between Gentile and Jewish believers. So why is this so important for us? I think it shows us that we can have salvation too. A lot of us are not of Jewish descent, and so it's just so important that we can have the same salvation and be part of God's family, just like the Jewish people in the Old Testament. Now we can also be part of God's family without practicing the Mosaic law and circumcision. Those no longer are what are the criteria for salvation. So it's just such a beautiful thing that we have been saved by grace, and that this grace is for all people, and we all have access to that, and just what a great thing that is, and it's just so important for us today. So that was what the Jerusalem Council was and why it's important to us.